So this is my 2017 Mazda MX5 RF GT Black Roof Edition. This is a 2018 Mazda MX5 RF GT Limited Edition. What's the difference between the two cars? Well, I'm glad you asked, because on today's video we're going to find out. Before I start this video, I just want to give a big shout out to Andrew and the team here at Blue Mountains Mazda. They gave me a call and said they had an LE in stock and that I was welcome to come up and make this video. So a huge thank you to Andrew. And if you're in Sydney or even the New South Wales area and you're in the market for a new or used Mazda, you owe it to yourself to contact the guys here at Blue Mountains Mazda. Absolute pleasure to deal with. And I'll put their details in the description below. On with the video. So what is the RF GT Limited Edition? Well, Mazda Australia have taken 110 units based off the RF GT platform and given them 4 enhancements. We have the Corey body kit, which I've probably butchered the pronunciation of, so we're just going to call it the Aero kit from now on. We have BBS wheels and Brembo brakes. We have Bilstein dampers, a underbonnet strut brace to improve chassis rigidity, and my favourite, the Recaro seats. Let's start by going through all those enhancements with number 1, the Corey body kit. So the body kit consists of the front splitter, the side skirts and the rear diffuser. Personally, I always thought the ND from the get-go looked really aggressive. Especially from the front, the lines, it looks mean, it looks angry. The body kit serves just to enhance that. So once again, Mazda, they're not trying to change the characteristics of the car, they're just trying to enhance it in little areas, just to make it a better all-round vehicle. Now, if we have a look at the front, we can see the difference between the two. So you have the gloss black splitter versus not having the gloss black splitter on mine. You have the side skirts that run down the side of the car, which then wraps around to a nice subtle rear diffuser. The biggest change on the outside of the car is definitely the BBS wheels and Brembo brakes. So standard on the GT are 17-inch alloys, and now we have 17-inch gloss black BBS wheels, which are a couple of kilos lighter per wheel. And behind that, we have the beautiful red Brembo brakes. One of the main criticisms I had of my GT, and still do, is that the brakes do feel a bit underpowered, so you really have to put your foot into it to get it to pull up. Hopefully these would have solved that issue. Now my favourite enhancement has to be on the inside of the car, and that is these beautiful Recaro seats. Now I've mentioned before, I'm not exactly a tall guy, and I've probably enjoyed one or two too many pies in my time. However, sitting in these seats, it is so snug. The GT seats, they're nice, but they can feel a little bit under-bolstered, especially when you're on a spirited drive or on a track. These, just from sitting in them for a few minutes, just moving the car around, they feel epic. The bolstering is hugely improved on the sides and on the thighs, and it should actually be really good for track use and also just spirited driving. These are the one thing out of all the changes Mazda have made that I'm the most jealous of. And since I'm here in a workshop, maybe I should find out what size spanner I need to remove them. Andrew wouldn't notice, would he? So, what's the GT Limited Edition like to drive? Well, first off, everything's really familiar once you get in the car. Obviously, it's based off the RF GT platform, so the only real differences are that my car, being the Black Roof Edition, has the Napa leather, and this has black leather accents, and of course the Recaro seats. And let's start with them. So, I had said earlier in the video that these seats are epic. They feel amazing, and sure enough, when you're in the car, when you're driving along on a twisty road such as I am now, they feel amazing. They are unreal. The suspension changes the ones that surprise me the most. So when you hear that you're going to stiffen the chassis, there's always the chance that the ride's going to be ruined, that it's going to be too bumpy, too jittery, and I'm pleased to report that is not the case. So on this road that I'm driving on now, it's a little bit bumpy, a little bit corrugated, and I was worried that driving this road would cause the car to really shift around and just be uncomfortable in general. However, this suspension is dealing with it fantastically. You can feel the strut brace under the bonnet doing a fantastic job of keeping the front end stiff. So when I'm putting it through corners, the whole front end just feels more composed, more capable. And the actual damping of the car is really, really nice. So, huge tick for Mazda there as far as the suspension goes. So what are the brakes like? As I said earlier, that's my main criticism of the stock GT setup is the brakes. And I'm happy to report these Brembos, not only do they look amazing, but they do a fantastic job. The pedal feels straight away, it's nice and firm. You don't have to bury your foot in it to pull the car up. probably using, say, half the braking power that you would normally. So you feel like you have so much less car that little bit better. So you now can use more of the available power. Speaking of power, there are no changes to the engine, which some people might get upset about. However, keep in mind that the changes that have been made allow you to use all the power more of the time. The other thing that I'm quite surprised about is there's no introduced NVH. So they've stiffened the chassis, we have stiffer suspension, and yet there's no extra rattles, there's no extra creaks, bumps, anything like that. It's all as it was with the GT. It's comfortable. It feels amazing on these back roads. It feels like it would dominate a track, but at the same time it'd be fun on the highway. Your daily commute. This car would be a perfect daily. You get all the greatness of the RF GT with some added icing on top. And you get a Seiko watch. I love Seiko watches. I'm wearing one right now. This car was built for me. And I have to be honest, it actually looks good in white. So white isn't just for fridges. Something else I learned today. If it was my money and I was in the market today, would I buy this over the GT? It's a hard one to answer. If money was no object, then yes, 100% wouldn't even think about it, because you're not missing out. You're getting everything that is so good about the GT, except it's a bit better with no added compromise. There's no drawbacks. However, unfortunately, money is an object for me. I think honestly I would try and find these Brembo brakes or something similar, and I would do whatever I could to get these Recaro seats, because they are that bloody good. It makes the experience ever so slightly nicer. I knew they look good, and I thought, you know, sure, they're going to be nice to sit in, but how much difference could they really make? I was so wrong. These seats are amazing. New drinking game. Rewind, rewatch this video. Every time I mention how good the seats are, take a shot. I guarantee you're going to be dead in 5 minutes. However, do me a favour and like this video first. Cheers. Well, after having the chance to take the RF GT limited edition out for a drive, what are my final thoughts? Well, I think Mazda have done an amazing job at taking a brilliant product and making it that little bit better. Everything they've done has improved the car. There are no drawbacks, there are no compromises. If you're someone who wants a limited edition MX5, or you want an RF that's a little bit more suited to the track, thanks to the Brembo brakes and Recaro seats, then this is definitely for you. If you're in the market for a new or used Mazda, definitely come and check out the guys here at Blue Mountains Mazda. And once again, massive shout out to Andrew for inviting me up here to make this video. If you've liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not already, and in the next video, I'll be travelling back to where it all began.